The American Renaissance defined. When looking at American literature, the American Renaissance became known as a period in which many literary works were widely considered American masterpieces. This was the time period generally defined as the mid-19th century, roughly dated from 1850 to 1855. What is Transcendentalism? As a movement of self-reliance, radical thinkers were encouraged. Organized religion helped with personal choice, as the settlers founded a nation. However, social expectations and standards were not wanted. The movement rejected common ideas and practices, particularly religion. Regular meetings, known as meetings of the Transcendental Club, became a regular time for all Transcendentalists to come together and reflect on personal feelings as well as where they should go with promoting their movement of free choice. This movement is said to state that everyone carries the universe within themselves. Intuitive thought was felt through feeling rather than conscious reasoning. Transcendentalism within American Renaissance literature. As equality of women, men, and children was encouraged, the movement of looking into one's own emotions and using that as inspiration guided writers. The limitless potential and having complete freedom in what one thinks and does became a platform for literature to become uncommon and rejuvenate art through literature. Nature became a common expression of self and was incorporated into many literary pieces. According to U.S. History 2014, it states that one writer, Ralph Waldo Emerson, quote, inspired his colleagues to look into themselves, into nature, into art, and through work for answers to life's most perplexing questions. His intellectual contributions to the philosophy of transcendentalism inspired a uniquely American idealism and spirit of reform. Authors of the American Renaissance were Ralph Waldo Emerson, Emily Dickinson, and Walt Whitman. Literature and Transcendentalism. Who was Ralph Waldo Emerson? Emerson became known as the central figure of his literary and philosophical group known as the American Transcendentalists. These writers shared a key belief that each individual could transcend or move beyond the physical world of the senses into deeper spiritual experience through free will and intuition. Ralph Waldo Emerson, born in Boston, Massachusetts on May 25, 1803, became a director at a school for girls previously run by his brother. During this time, he wrote the poem Goodbye. Starting the Transcendentalist movement in 1832, Emerson wrote Self-Reliance and the American Scholar. Emerson was the most influential person during the Transcendentalism movement as he encouraged free thinking, stating, within man is the soul of the whole, the wise silence, the universal beauty, to which every part and particle is equally related, the eternal one. Literature and Transcendentalism. Who was Emily Dickinson? A poet who took definition as her province, Emily Dickinson challenged the existing definitions of poetry and the poet's work. Like writers such as Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau, and Walt Whitman, she experimented with expression in order to free it from conventional restraints. Like writers such as Charlotte Bronte and Elizabeth Barrett Browning, she crafted a new type of persona for the first person. Born on December 10, 1830, in Amherst, Massachusetts, Emily Dickinson grew up as a shy individual who enjoyed living in isolation. Knowing how to be alone clearly defined her writing style, while noting her influence of being brought up in a Puritan New England town. Literature and Transcendentalism. Who was Walt Whitman? Walt Whitman is America's world poet, a latter-day successor to Homer, Virgil, Dante, and Shakespeare. In Leaves of Grass, he celebrated democracy, nature, love, and friendship. This monumental work chanted praises to the body as well as to the soul, and found beauty and reassurance, even in death. Whitman is one of the most significant poets in American literature. Born in Long Island, he had many jobs. He even self-published his work titled Leaves of Grass. This was made from his travels throughout the frontier. Whitman added many more to his work and created pieces that withstood time. Without the Transcendentalist movement, opinions, free speech, and masterpieces of expression would not be included within literature. The ability to express emotion without inferior of living up to a societal, spiritual, or theoretical role defines self-expression. In the American Renaissance, the platform of art defined freedom of thought and encouraged as well as changed the course of literature as expression of nature and spirituality was defined differently than the distinguished literature of the past.